Hi guys, my name's David and I'd like to share with you a new journey that I'm now taking in my life in my 30s. I was a painter and decorator to trade for 19 years, and a few years ago my health started to go a bit for the worst, should we say. I first started noticing pains constantly in my right shoulder, and me being me, not thinking anything of it, just kept on working through it, which I was managing, and then I ended up with back pains, lower back pains. I wouldn't say don't know if you class them as normal or anything else, but it seemed to be more located to the spine. And yet again, I ignored that. Why? Because I just thought it was part of the job, wear and tear or overdoing it, whatever it kind of comes to mind. So left that, just took painkillers as most people would do. Then I noticed, if I was trying to get up from painting the curtains, say, in a bedroom, every so often my legs weren't pushing, they weren't taking the weight, I wasn't able to get off the floor. But as I says, it was every now and again. So yeah, me being stubborn, didn't do anything about it. And then probably a couple of months after that had started, I'd noticed when I was at the shops, out shopping with my wife, kids, that my legs would then start to struggle. What I mean by struggle is it seemed to be harder to walk. I had to fight with my legs to walk, I had to think more about it to walk. And then that put a little bit of shock into me. So then I decided to go to my doctor, who had a look, obviously done checks, took blood tests and everything else. And at that time, when I was in the GP's office, he took my blood pressure. Now, my blood pressure at the time was reading 168 over 129, which is extremely high. His words were, "You are a shoo-in for dropping down dead." Now, at the age of 32, you don't particularly want to hear that. Saying that, you don't want to particularly hear that at any time in your life, but it didn't actually quite sink in. Not at least for a few months. Then it did sink in, because I've got 2 girls and my wife. And then I started to think, what happens if the worst did come? How would they cope? How would my wife cope? But the GP had put me on tablets, so I was taking them regular, and I was getting regular checkups, which was fine. The first set of tablets weren't working right, so they put me on a higher dose. That wasn't working too well, so they put me on the highest dose. So I was on 10 milligrams of Ramipril, and at the age of 32, it started to help with my blood pressure at least. Now, with the other things that were happening, I ended up getting referred to neurology even. And I went in for tests, upon tests, MRIs, nerve stimulation tests and everything else. They couldn't find out what was wrong. So they put it down to a nerve function disorder, which the easiest way to explain would be, if you've got a computer and it's lagging behind and it needs an update, so the software's not working right, that's more or less what the nerve function disorder is for me. It's a miscommunication between my brain and the rest of my body. So that started to get me down big time. I wasn't walking properly, it was a struggle. And then obviously going to work, still trying to work and bring money in for the family and everything else. It wasn't great. I mean, the pain was far too sore. It was getting worse. And I was even struggling climbing upstairs, climbing ladders, you name it, which for my job, face it, we need to be able to do. So we kind of kept on going, and I ended up, not in the greatest of places. Depression started to kick in, anxiety started to kick in. I didn't want to go shopping, I didn't want to leave the house, but I had to, just kind of keep going. But I was referred to a psychologist. I mean, the psychologists are great. You go and speak to someone that's not part of your life, and somebody that's not, with you constantly, or kind of puts that input in, and then you see them all the time. I mean, it's great. So she helped me, or gave me tools to help live with the condition I've got. So that was fine, that was coming into place, and everything was clicking. The moods were getting better. They were taking time. I mean, 32, I was about 34 before, the time I got to see the psychiatrist, before all the checks were kind of done. I'm 36 now. I mean, the moods do come and go still, but it's a lot better than what it was. Now for the shoulder, found out that it was a chronically dislodged clavicle. So the way I was kind of thinking of, dislocated collarbone, which I ended up having to get an operation on to try and make room for. Operation went well. Recovery, on the other hand, not so great. That's kind of put me out of being able to do my job I've done for 19 years. So yeah, that also then piled on a little bit of how am I going to be able to support the family, what kind of work can I get, so it kind of came to having to retrain, which we'll cover in a later video. But one thing I would say to a lot of people is, although you could be suffering, or if you are suffering with things, and you think to yourself, oh, there's a lot of worse people out there than me, to a certain degree there could be, but the things that's happening to you are happening to you, and it's you need to look after. I mean, that was one thing I didn't do. It took me too long to stop being stubborn and go and get myself sorted, should I say. It should be look after yourself first. Because if you don't look after yourself and the worst things do happen, you can't look after anybody else in your family, like kids, loved ones, anybody. So yeah, it's don't leave your health going so long the wrong way, like I did. Although it could be, you think something simple, it might not be. It could be something a little bit worse. And don't live in constant pain, because it doesn't work either. So yeah, please just go get checked. Doesn't matter how little you think it is, or how you think it's insignificant. It possibly isn't. And I thought the same, and it was a lot worse for me. So yeah, until next time, keep safe.